Let's catch you up on a couple stories that should be on your radar today. It is time for Rapid Fire, and here to break down the headlines are Kate Rogers, Dominic Chu, and Julia Borston. Welcome, everybody. First up, the big news of the day. Facebook-owned Instagram launching its competitor to TikTok today, and it's called Reels. It'll let you create 15-second videos using filters, AR, and music. Importantly, which is just like TikTok, it's now available in more than 50 countries. And because it's embedded within the app, it has the built-in base, Julia, of Instagram's 1 billion plus users. Can I try this now?
Well, yes. I don't know if it's on your phone right now. You might need to refresh your app, but it will be available to everyone very soon. It takes a while to roll out these changes. But one thing that's really interesting, Kelly, is you don't have to download another app. This is part of Instagram. Facebook has had challenges in the past when it's copied other popular features in separate apps. People have not necessarily wanted to adopt them. It tried something similar to TikTok with an app called Lasso. Because this is part of Instagram, this is really about getting people to stay hooked on Instagram, spend more time on Instagram, where they, of course, will see more ads.
Yeah. Kate, what do you think about it?
Well, so it's so interesting Julia brings up Lasso. I actually had never even heard of it, and I am a big Instagram user, so I think the idea of rolling it out within Instagram, of course, is a smart move. Also seems a little more talent and dance and music focused, less beauty and fashion focused, which is what Instagram is so popular for. And obviously, TikTok is the big elephant in the room, right? What happens with TikTok? Its future in the United States kind of in limbo here. My question would be, would TikTok stars move over to this new feature on Instagram, and would their audiences actually follow them, because they're two very different and separate platforms?
Yeah, and Dom, we know that there have been reports back and forth about, them trying to pay to both TikTok poaching people from other networks, and then the platforms like Instagram doing the same thing for Reels. And, if it does work, I wonder if Facebook goes to the U.S. government and says, you can just ban TikTok altogether. There's somewhere else people can go.
Well, I'm sure that they want to make that kind of a case. I'm not sure from a PR perspective if that's the kind of way that they want to go. But you bring up a great point in that when it comes down to creating the content, you want to have people around the ecosystem. And for a lot of these social media applications, it is about funding developers, content creators, application type people. So if you do spend the money on it, I wonder if Facebook doesn't have the balance sheet and the resources to be able to pour enough money into Instagram Reels to have people actually make the content there and make it a really viable competitor to what's happening with TikTok.
Julia, the other interesting thing this tells us, or kind of reminds us, is how much social media has matured. There's plenty of people in Silicon Valley who could launch a TikTok rival tomorrow, but nobody would know about it or download it. You basically have to be one of the big four, like any other industry, if you even want your rival app to have a chance. That's why Reels might have a chance, but anybody else could have done this. It's just that it'd be hard to get the word out.
Well, look, I think it's worth pointing out there is an app called Triller. It is a TikTok, very similar to TikTok. I won't call it a TikTok copycat, but very similar to TikTok. And they actually have been luring over some of the TikTok stars, some of those creators. But I think the key thing here with Facebook is that it doesn't necessarily need to be exactly the same as TikTok or even have those stars. It just needs to work enough that people don't want to leave Instagram, don't want to leave that Facebook platform for TikTok. It's all about growing engagement, making sure that their user growth stays up, and people really spend time on that platform. TikTok, obviously very popular, and they just don't want people to leave for that.
Yeah, it worked with Stories. They just copied it from Snap, and they stopped people from going that way. And Stories, I only figured it out a year ago, and I'm already bored with the options, so it'd be nice to have something new to play around with. Next up, new data shows the restaurant recovery from COVID-19 still has a ways to go. According to NPD Group, restaurant chain transactions were down 11% year-on-year for the week ending July 26. That's after peaking around Father's Day. It comes as cases and hotspots continue to spike, and that extra $600 a week unemployment benefit just expired. Kate, you've been following this story, and I think what's interesting is we're starting to see a lot of differentiation across sectors. Restaurant is by far taking the brunt of this pandemic, and I wonder if ultimately the government's response is going to change as a result.
Yes, certainly. The $600 unemployment benefit expiring is certainly on the minds of leaders in the industry. So basically every major company that had reported during earnings so far mentioned higher average tickets because people were spending more money when they went out, or they were ordering more at Domino's, for example, to have leftovers for the next day. McDonald's CEO even brought up the $600 benefit to them, saying that it had been a boost when it rolled out. He expected to have some negative impacts when it did expire. So you have to imagine that there is going going to be an impact. As you said, traffic was looking better around Father's Day, some pent-up demand. People were feeling a bit more comfortable, but that's kind of shifted now. Data from AlixPartners shows that fewer people are willing to go out and dine out in restaurants, as we've been talking about, even as more and more restrictions had lifted around the country. So major headwinds for the restaurant industry, and I think the $600 benefit is just really the tip of the iceberg here, Kelly.
Julia, real quickly, what's like in California? What's the deal with indoor dining these days?
Well, indoor dining in Los Angeles, at least, is banned. There's a lot of outdoor dining, and you see a lot of restaurants which have created this outdoor dining space. There was a period where you could have distance dining inside, but really now the focus has shifted to outdoors. But one thing that was really interesting, as Kate alluded to, this idea that why people are eating out, why people are ordering out, has really changed. And at first, people were reluctant to because of contamination concerns. And now people aren't ordering out as much because of cost or dining out because of cost. So it'll be interesting to see how that shifts. But I know that here, we do order in, and I have to say, we do order more food to have leftovers. So, yes. Kate, you're right on that one.
Yeah, no, if you're going to do it, if you're going to go through the whole process, you got to at least get more than one meal out of it. How about
anything to not cook is my opinion.
Kate, 100,000%. I totally agree. Shares of Disney are surging today despite posting its first quarterly net loss since 2001. That's thanks in part to strong growth in Disney Plus subscriptions. As of Monday, Disney Plus had over 60 million paid subscribers. So Disney hit that $60 million goal, a million user goal, I should say, 4 years early. The CEO said Mulan, the live action film, will also debut on the streaming platform in September after multiple release delays. I mean, Dom, we were talking yesterday about the stock and, what can it do? It just has to kind of wait for it's kind of like the restaurant. You just have to kind of wait for the pandemic to get better. Well, no, they've got Disney Plus and they're really leveraging that.
You want to talk about the whole social media thing about not getting people to leave a certain application like Facebook or Instagram to do something else. I got to tell you, during this whole pandemic lockdown, my family has probably used Disney Plus more than any other streaming service that we have, and we have a lot of them. It's more than made up for the cost of it simply by virtue of having some of these platforms and some of these properties on them. It seems like a no-brainer to release a large live-action film that you would have considered a blockbuster before because you have such a captive user base right now. And those earnings reports that just came out showed you how many millions of people are now paying a recurring charge on their credit card to do this. It seems like a no-brainer, Kel.
And, Julia, that $30 price point, people don't even care. I mean, I think they could charge anything for Mulan, and they're just glad to have some kind of entertainment. I just wonder, what does the fact that this film is now going straight to streaming mean for the future of theaters?
Well, it's such an interesting test, Kelly, because remember, it's not just $30 for Mulan. You have to also be a subscriber to Disney Plus. So the question is whether this gets more people to sign up for Disney Plus and whether then how many people want to pay that $30 for Mulan. I've actually been texting with a number of our colleagues about whether they think that's a great deal because it's cheaper than taking a family of four to the movies or whether that's really expensive. So it'll be really interesting to see what Disney learns from this, a very valuable experiment at a time when movie theaters are closed, and really a test of consumer demand for this direct-to-consumer premium video-on-demand model. And Kelly, it'll be interesting to see what Disney does after this, because for now, they reassured theater owners this is not going to be something they do for every movie. For now, this is just a one-off. We'll see whether they stick to that.